So, welcome to my analysis on the key theme in the whole of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is the theme of duality. It's central to the whole plot and the decisions and the Stevenson's message. So let's get our head around it, ready for our essays. So I've narrowed down my essay into 4 points. I've chosen 4 really rich quotes I've got lots to say about, and I've colour-coded my analysis so you can see where it matches the mark scheme. So fundamentally, duality is having 2 sides to something. It's a scary word with a simple definition. So how does Stevenson present the theme of duality? Stevenson shows that duality exists across our society. It's in people, places, the weather, society, etc., etc. Could go on. Now, duality drives our society. For example, says it's at the root of religion, but it is rejected and it's forbidden to be expressed, which shows the irony and the hypocrisy that comes with duality too. So how does Stevenson present the theme of duality? There's 4 points I really simply have to make. First of all, we've got the duality of the door. Hyde's door, like him, doesn't fit on the rest of the street. It's a dual street with dual door. We've got the quote "sword in negligence" for that. We've also got the duality of weather, reflective of the society. So our society is a fusion of safe limits, but also pleasurable freedom. So they've got chocolate-coloured power lowered over heaven. Then we've got the duality of people. Society expects us to hide our duality and cover our bad side. And I've got the quote "red baize" for that. And then I've got the key point that our duality will destroy us. Our intolerance of duality and our pressure to hide it hurts us, and I've got the quote "dreadful shipwreck" for that. So, first quote, we've got "sword in negligence" to describe the door and the street. So we see the duality of the street. We've got a lively, colourful busyness of the street and then a dark, abandoned door. Now Hyde's door, just like him, does not fit in with the rest of this society, showing the duality of our society. But like Hyde, it's judged as unpleasant and out of place. No one opens the door to understand the reasons behind it. No one understands Hyde's resolve, addiction and science, and actually what resides in us all. This reflects how society chooses to ignore rather than understand our duality. So this is the door to Jekyll's house, which is reflective of his dual personality. We've got Hyde's lab where he's made, which is old and rotten and abandoned, but then we've got Jekyll's house that is warm and comfortable, which is reflective of society's view of them both. Then look at the language here. I've got sordid, which connotes to immoral activity. This reflects the actions of Hyde, but it also the actions of society, suggesting he's an outcast, when the reality is his instinctive passion lies in us all. He is our duality, we just choose not to accept it. But they've also got the word negligence here. The door and Hyde have been abandoned by society and left to rot. That's what we'd like to do with our duality: abandon it, leave it, dismiss it. Then I move on to this one, chocolate-coloured power lowered over heaven. So the weather here is reflective of our dual society. Our society is a fusion of safe limits, but also pleasurable freedom, what others will consider as evil. So Stevenson uses this pathetic fallacy of the night of Carewe's death to present the duality in our society. We've got the noun heaven here, which refers to London. We consider London a heaven because of the safe limits of our society. Whilst there is order, everything is in control. Then we've also got power, which is the flag which is placed over a coffin. Now this symbolises how this order and control is now being killed off by Hyde's instinctiveness and his rebellion against the limits of society. However, and really key, Stevenson describes it as chocolate. So in Victorian Britain, chocolate is going to be highly desirable but very costly, as it has to be imported from other parts of the empire. Now this is reflective of Stevenson's message that society would be better off without these limits, but without them there will be a great cost damage to humanity. Therefore, Stevenson is showing how the plight of duality of Jekyll and Hyde is not restricted to one man, but is actually across our society. Then my favourite quote, and this is a quote from the laboratory where Hyde is made, that is covered in red baize. So society expects us to hide our duality and cover our bad side, so Jekyll covers up his rotten core of a thin, temporary facade, and that's demonstrated through the metaphor here of baize. Now baize is cheap, thin material used to cover things up that are old and ugly, which reflects how Jekyll covers up his rotten core with something that looks nice but is fake. However, baize doesn't last long, and then it looks even worse, which reflects the inevitability of Jekyll's facade going and his dual nature being exposed. This reflects the pressures of Victorian society, for he has to have a publicly approved reputation and image and withhold his duality and his true desires. But I love this quote because the adjective red, and you can run with this as far as you like. So this connotes danger, so it's dangerous for Jekyll to keep and indulge his dual persona. But red also connotes to love, so Jekyll enjoys having this dual free side he can indulge. But red also connotes a warning, so this is a warning to society of the danger of our duality. We have to accept it, appreciate it, understand it, and if we hide it, more damage will be done. Then my last paragraph's going to be on this, the dreadful shipwreck that Jekyll condemns himself to as a result of living with Hyde. He cannot survive his dual persona, it destroys him. So Jekyll was like a ship. He kept leaving the security of society the same way a ship leaves land, but ships must eventually return to this and therefore conform to the expectation of society. However, Jekyll doesn't, and therefore his destruction was inevitable. Now the noun here, shipwreck, is a total destruction that cannot be saved, symbolising how Jekyll's demise due to his duality was total and unsalvageable. Now, the ships are also associated with adventure and discovery, so Jekyll believes he was on an adventurous discovery of his duality, but it ended in disaster due to his addiction and denial. Now, I believe here that Jekyll symbolises Stevenson, and this may reflect Stevenson's own struggles with his dual persona, for he was an established writer, but also a cocaine addict, and the feeling he too had hit rock bottom by the time of this novel. He here needs to be that ship that returns back to society, that demands our dual side, our bad side is kept away and away from the public light. But like Jekyll, I believe Stevenson struggled with this.